Sorry about that. I just got a new phone this week and I don't know how long it's going to record. That one only recorded 21 minutes, so we'll see what happens this time. So, anyway, I was going through and I was dry brushing soft black between the boards. I don't want it real heavy, I just want some to give some texture to make it look like it's weathered. Now, this is going to seem strange, I know, but barnwood often has whatever color it was painted left in it. So I'm going to add just a touch. Same thing with my same dirty brush. It's going to make it a little dirty, but I'm picking up burnt orange and I'm going to dry brush this. I'm not going to put a lot on the sides. Again, it's going to be covered up, but I want it to be throughout the wood to give it a little color. And also, as I said, the bird's going to have a burnt orange belly, and I want that color to be reflected throughout the design. To carry the color throughout and give a little interest to the boards too. And this, I know, is going to be really weird, but since this is a metal bucket, it reflects. I'm putting just a tad of that burnt orange over there. Not a lot. Don't want it to overpower what I've already done, but just a little. And there you go. Just to add a little color. I'm going to do a little floating around now with Payne's Gray before I start putting everything in, and it's hard to get between objects. I guess this is like the lazy way to do it. Just going to start shading around again. My little choppy strokes. This piece of paper is really getting in the way, but I need it. Haven't added a whole lot of water. Don't even care that I get it up into the bird's nest because it's going to be covered. Try to be a little more careful along the edges. But there again, it'll be okay. I'm going to have to add a little water now because it's not moving the paint at all. So dip it in the water, dry some out. I'm going to put a lot between there because I don't want that to get too dark, but I do want it. I'm just going to do some messy, I'm not even sure this, I don't even know what you would call this, but I want some of this Payne's Gray to be worked in between these strokes. We're going to add more, I know, and most of this is going to be covered up, but I want the darkness in there because when you get all of those flowers in there, there's not going to be any light. But I want it to look like it has some shadowing. If you want, you can use a mop brush and mop that. I think it's going to be just fine. Sometimes I take my finger and kind of work it in. I think of my fingers as another paintbrush, I guess. And so much of this is going to be covered, but I just want it to have some darkness in there. I'm going to try to get a pretty good dark float underneath to make it look like it's casting shadows. Again, if you feel more comfortable mopping, that's fine. Go right ahead. I'm not a usual mopper. Not saying I don't ever do it. I just usually don't. I'm working some of that Payne's Gray in there, bringing it out. Don't care that I've got it over the wording, because the wording is going to be the last thing that we add. So this in reality is behind the lettering. May have to put a little more white there. Okay. I'm going to put that Payne's Gray up next to that and see if that adds just a nice little shadow. Since it's so dark, it don't have to be so precise. Let's go ahead and shade the roof. Let me see if I can get that. Need a little more water. Okay, let's get the edge of this roof. Okay, let's wash that out and let's pick up the titanium white. I don't know if this is still usable on my palette or not, but we'll see. I can already tell I've got too much white in there. And then do the same thing to the other side. This probably would be easier to do with a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch, but no, why make it easy? And let's get the edge of this eave a little highlight too. Same thing on the other side. let's go ahead and add some, I don't know what we call these. Let's tiles. I don't know. Just do some little lines to make it look like it's got some tile work going on. And let's pick up the Payne's Gray again and float under that. I added some little hash marks to that to make it look like maybe it was some tile to it. I don't know. Let's see if I can clean up this little edge again. This angular's just about seen its better days, I think. Okay, now I'm going to pick up some soft black and float over the boards again to bring them out to since I dry brushed them. Let's get a different angular. Let's see if this one will be any better. This might be too new to work. I don't know. This cleans up some of those dirty brush areas. Makes them a little crisper. Then I take my brush and I add some just some lines inside to make it look like wood, the grain of wood. If these dry too light, you can go back over it with your liner. Going to go ahead and float a shadow between the birdhouse and the nest. I don't really think it's going to show after I get all my bird nest pieces in, but just in case it does. Add a little shadow there. Then let's add another little shadow where the nail's going to go in. Kind of make it jagged. I'll go ahead and put the nail in with this brush. Make it a little round. And I know that's not dry, but let's see what happens. Put a little white across the top. Ew, that's what happens, it's too wet. It's too white. There we go. That's better. Let me find my dirty brush, and let's add a little dry brushing inside that heart and see if we can get it to have a little dimension to it. That's the soft black, which is what we painted it. And I'm going to wipe out as much of that as I can and pick up some slate gray. I don't know if that's any in there or not. Well, maybe. Let's try the bleach sand. Oh, that's much better. Much, much better. And there again, adding some of that burnt orange to it. Not a lot. It looks kind of brown, doesn't it? There you go. That's looking like it oughta. Now let's come back with some white and dry brush the bucket. Let's make it shine. I'm loading my brush the same way that I showed y'all, wiping most of the paint up into the bristles. This is basically going right down through the middle. Pick up just a little more and see if I can get it a little bit brighter. Let's start a float over here on the eggs while we've got it, because they're going to need a little shiny spot. This brush is just about too big for this little area, but that's okay. There we go. Isn't that amazing what just a little bit of paint does? And we're just about probably out of filming time for this segment too. But I'm going to go ahead and start adding the lavender. I'm going to use the, I've got some Payne's Gray, the Dioxazine purple, and lavender and white. And we're just going to touch blobs, I guess. It's a good way to call it, into the area. And I think the white just went fine. I use the number 2 for this. I don't have to use the best number 2 I've got. But I'm going to start with the dark color. Just blob it in. You're going to have different heights. So think about that. And when this cuts off, we'll pick back up. So if y'all go bye-bye, you'll know what I'm doing. You can even put these dots where there aren't any leaves. It doesn't matter. We're going to add some to the end. But we're going to do the back tall ones first. Then we'll come in with some short ones. We'll come in with the lavender on top of some of those. You don't want to cover up all your background colors. But when you put them on top, it mixes and gives you a new color. And do the same thing with white. Put in as many as you want. I try to give some guidance, but sometimes you have to just do what you like. I'm going to add some Thicket, if I can find it, to my palette. And I'm going to mix that with the Payne's Gray to make dark lines for my stems. Everything in the middle is going to be dark again because you're losing its light. So these in the center should be a little darker. And this is where. Even put some up in here for the back. Some random leaves I just pat down. Picking up the different colors again. Okay, y'all get the hang of that. I'll fix that up off camera and hopefully it'll look a little better. I'm going to start by adding the bird nests in. I'm going to start with soft black and just going to start putting wiggly lines around. Don't want a whole lot of the same color because you're going to be mixing different colors. Have to be careful not to get blobs like that. But if you do, just work them in. It doesn't matter. I like to have little branches coming off. And we're going to go lighter with the colors. The base is asphaltum, so, but maybe just a little with that black mixed in. Before we do that, let's add, because these might get covered up, let's add some little feathers to the inside of the nest. Just water down titanium white, and it's just a little stroke. Just have several of those in here. Or if you don't want very many, don't put them. But you've heard of feathering your nest? Well, that's what we're doing. have them going every which way because it'll make it look natural. Well, that had a little purple in it, but that's okay. It just adds another little detail. It's not everything has to be perfect. And there's different colors that get reflected in nature. And I'm thinking that's probably just about enough of that. The ones on top aren't as watered down, and so they're a little more prominent. Let's put one there. Okay. And then let's continue back with our nest. Let's go ahead and just skip ahead to the sable brown. And if we need to pick up some more of the darker colors, we can do that. And you kind of want to put them in between what you've already done. You don't want to totally cover up. And if you go over them again, that's okay. But you can see how that brings that nest to life. There again, if it comes down over the lettering, it's okay because the lettering's going to be black and it's going to cover it. Sometimes I think we work too hard to be perfect and we make a mess. I'm going to pick up a little of the bleach sand now and make it even lighter. And honestly, you could go on all day doing this, but you want to be careful not to let your colors get muddy. I keep watching the camera, I expect it to quit. We're now at 27 minutes. This makes no sense. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to use Desert Turquoise to shade the bottom. I hope that wasn't all out of frame. I hope you got to see some of that. I've watched so many videos and I find myself screaming, put it in frame. Well, you know what? It's not as easy as you think it is. I'm still, after all these years of painting, amazed at what just adding a little color at the right place does to bring a painting to life. So for right now, I'm going to stop and transfer the bird. I'm going to do it off camera, so if I totally mess up, I won't have everybody watching, but I'll be honest and tell you if it worked or not. And I'm going to clean up some of this stuff and make it look a little better. And we'll come back and we'll do the bird and the lettering, and that should be it. Okie doke.